Alright, in this video demonstration we're going to talk about DHCP split scopes, and I'm going to navigate over to server A and go to my administrative tools, DHCP snap-in, maximize my window here, and we're going to double click the server A, IPv4, and we're going to make a brand new scope with a name of my choosing for the following network, 192.193.194/24. So I'm going to right click IPv4 and say new scope and say next, and I'll call this split scope demo. Call yours whatever you want to call it. Say next. The IP address will be 192.193.194.1 through 192.193.194.254. Again, that would be the range for the /24, 1 through 254. Can't use 0 because that's the network number, and 255 is the broadcast address. Say next. Any exclusions? Let's see here. The first 5 addresses should not be given out according to the lab. So 192.193.194.1 through 192.193.194.5. Add that in there and say, let's see here, next. The lease duration, use the default lease time according to the lab. And so do you have any other options? We want the default gateway to be configured, so we do want to configure additional options right now. We want the default gateway to be the first available IP address, 192.193.194.1. Say add, next. Let's see, the domain name in B. So this is my parent domain name, and B is the appropriate IP address here. We'll say next. Didn't specify anything about the Win server in the lab, so we'll say next. And we do not want to activate the scope for right now. Say next and finish. The next thing we want to do is actually split this up. So we want to use the 80/20 DHCP split scope rule for DHCP server B. So what we're going to do is just go double check server B to make sure we actually have the DHCP service installed, and we do. That's one of the prerequisites in order to implement a DHCP split scope. So let's go to our split scope demo here, scope, and we're going to right click on it and do advanced and say split scope. And we're just going to start the little split scope wizard. We'll say next. The additional DHCP server is our server B, and I'm going to click add server, and we're going to browse to make sure that we have our server B specified. So there's my server B box. Say OK, and say OK again. Say next, and here's our 80/20. Again, we have this little slide bar. We could change that to be from 80/20 to something different. We want it to be 80/20, so we'll leave it at that, showing the starting IP addresses 1 through 204. The ending IP address will be 203 to 254. So this will be the address ranges on A, and this will be the ones on B. Say next. It's going to ask us if we want to set a delay, and we do want to set a 500 millisecond delay for server B. So we're going to specify 500 for our added DHCP server, which is server B. Say next, and then finish up. And notice how it finished up and successfully created that. We'll say close. And if we look at our scope again, not there, done the DHCP split scope demo, we see our address pool is 1 through 254, but we have excluded out 1 through 5. Notice that exclusion still stayed there, and then we've also excluded 204 through 254. Now this is the beauty of this wizard. If we go over to server B and look at our DHCP server snap-in, we notice that we have another scope that was automatically created for us right here. Notice I made this on server A, and it came over here to server B, showing us that we have 1 through 254 is our total range, but it's excluded out 1 through 203. So really nice, really easy. And again, this is the purpose, or the purpose behind this is for fault tolerance. In the event that server A goes down, server B can kind of pick up the slack and not overlap its IP address range of what it's handed out.